Many thanks for staying with us. You're watching KTN Prime. Now, ordinarily, when a woman goes into labor, it is supposed to be a time of bringing forth a new life and a time for celebration. However, that is not always the case, as thousands of women needlessly die immediately after delivery due to postpartum hemorrhage. Postpartum hemorrhage is the #1 killer of women in maternity wards, and if not stopped, it can kill within 24 hours after delivery. Mary Mwoki visited Migori and Homa Bay counties, which are among those leading in maternal deaths, and tells us of an invention aimed at stopping postpartum hemorrhage. Our journey takes us through the Nyanza region of Kenya. Our first stop is in Siaya County at the homestead of 32-year-old Mary Awor. A mother of 6 children, Mary's last pregnancy was an eventful one. At 6 months into the pregnancy, a routine antenatal visit revealed that she had a multiple pregnancy. At this time, doctors also saw that Mary was prone to postpartum hemorrhage as she was bleeding at the time. She was put on bed rest until the time of her delivery. When Mary got discharged with her 3 bundles of joy, she noticed her belly kept enlarging. Then one night, she started bleeding heavily.
Ambulance akakuja hapa na mama na huyo daktari na bwana yake wakachukua watoto. Na semeji yangu moja huyu na dada yangu mwingine wakaenda Siaya.
At the hospital, the doctor informed her the only way to stop her bleeding and save her life was to remove her uterus. The finality of that shocked her, but she also knew it was the only way she could live.
Wakati nilikuwa kwa kitanda, nilikuwa nasema kama hiyo uterus inaweza tolewa, nipate uzima nilee watoto wangu. Can be fine. Rather than I die leaving my kids. The doctors also were not having any otherwise.
The procedure was a race between life and death that took longer than expected. Outside in the waiting room, her husband grew more worried as to what may have happened to his wife. When the doctor finally emerged and informed him they had removed his wife's uterus, he could not handle it.
At Mary tulimaliziwa naye kitambo hata mfuko yake tulitoa tukatupa. Uliuliza nani kutupa mfuko? Atuliongea na Mary akakubali. Nikauliza unaongea na mgonjwa. Alafu nakuja niambia uliongea na mgonjwa na niko hapa. Hapo ndio tulikosania sasa hapo. Sasa ndio akili yangu iliruka. Nikaanza kubambana nao madaktari. Nikaona hapa sasa ni makonde tu. Nilitoa makonde huko.
Across the lake in Migori County, the family of Pascal Onyango shares a similar story, but a more unfortunate script. This grave is our first sight when we drive into the compound. The late Juliana was admitted at a Migori hospital and underwent a cesarean operation to deliver her 5th child. Her husband left the hospital after she delivered, promising to see her the next day. Hours later, he was called to return to the hospital. His wife was bleeding heavily.
Badala ya kwenda nyumbani, rudi hapa Migori. Bibi yako damu yake inakwisha. Daktari naita wewe rudi. Akachukua piko akaenda naye.
His sister Caroline Ochieng had remained behind to take care of his wife. Caroline says her sister-in-law started complaining of pain in her stomach a few hours after delivery.
Tumbo yangu. Alafu namwambia nini kwenye tumbo na mtoto ambaye alikuwa yuko kwenye tumbo ambaye alikuwa inakusumbua. Ndio hii nimebeba. Ni nini? Sijui tumbo na kofa. Ndio nikaweka kwenye kitanda kingine huko. Nikarudi. Vile nimetoa tu nguo hivi, nimepata kama dadangu hako na damu nyingi kabisa.
Caroline called for a nurse who came and wheeled Juliana to the theater. Then the long wait began.
Sinaka sana enda. Naka sana enda. nakaa, saa naenda, akatoka. Saa moja naingia, kabla jaona hii bibi yangu. Sasa mimi nitatoka hapa saa ngapi? Mimi hauna nyumba hapa, mimi natoka mbali. Sasa hii maneno nitakufanya namna gani?
When a nurse finally came to see him, it was with bad news for the two siblings.
Hey, sister, namna gani kwa bibi yangu? Mzee, pole. Bibi yako aliaga.
Juliana amekufa. Juliana alikufa tu hivyo pole pole.
It is estimated that postpartum hemorrhage directly contributes to 44% of all maternal deaths in the country, according to the Kenya National Control of Population and Development. And those lucky enough to escape death are forced to surgically remove all or part of their uterus. This is Juliana's grave, one of the many women who die every year while giving birth due to postpartum hemorrhage. Most of them bleed out in under 2 hours, a situation that can be avoided with the intervention of such kits. The kit, known as the uterine balloon tamponade or UBT, is an innovative device developed by the Kenya Medical Education Trust, a Kisumu-based NGO, in response to the high rate of maternal deaths caused by postpartum bleeding. It is meant to be a stopgap measure for women who can't readily access proper medical interventions of stopping postpartum bleeding. The kits are assembled by this group of women from disadvantaged backgrounds. One kit consists of a catheter, a syringe, 2 strings, and a pair of condoms. Once assembled, the kit can potentially save a woman's life by stemming the bleeding until proper medical intervention is made. If a woman delivers and the uterus fails to contract, there are a number of interventions that can be undertaken, including administering uterotonics, the first line of treatment for PPH. In cases where the drugs may not be readily available, especially in rural settings, a healthcare provider may then resort to the kits.
We decided to address the major cause of maternal mortality, and that is postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding after delivery. It's a nightmare, and the placenta is out, and you have removed everything. The uterus, the womb, needs to contract back to the normal size, and that contraction stops the bleeding. But when it doesn't contract and stop bleeding, the uterus will continue to bleed. And if there is no intervention, within 2 hours you have a body.
The catheter is attached to the syringe first, then the condom wrapped around the catheter's end and tied firmly with a string. The end of the catheter with the condom is inserted into the uterus. The medic will then draw clean water using the syringe and pump it into the condom through the other end of the catheter, like this, until it forms a huge balloon inside the uterus. The balloon exerts pressure on the walls of the uterus, causing the bleeding to stop. So far, the kit has helped save lives. When Christabel Anyango went into labor, she was rushed into the Katito Sub-County Hospital in Kisumu. She delivered her bundle of joy. After her delivery, though, she wouldn't stop bleeding. Her stomach was hurting and she was feeling dizzy.
Kustuka, nikastukia damu inatoka, ni kama pump ingine iko hapo ndani inapiga pa na inatoka. Saa dakika kidogo natoka nje naenda kubadilisha pads. Dakika kidogo hata 30 minutes iishi. Mpaka nikaweka nguo sasa.
So taking her blood pressure, it was already low. The patient was even going into shock. Yeah. So I had to take the patient back for examination. So when I took the patient for examination, I found that the bladder was full. We expelled around 500 ml of urine. I found she was having a lot of tears and lacerations on the vaginal walls, which were not sutured. So we had to repair everything. So as a last resort, I was like, I had learned something about uterine balloon tamponade, but I had not used it. Why not try it out? I see if it can work out, because I was told it can apply pressure to the vaginal walls, to the uterus, so that the bleeding may stop. So when I tried that, after around 4 hours, when we observed the mother, she was now okay. The bleeding was not there. Actually, the mother was stable, because at some point the mother became unconscious.
Postpartum hemorrhage is caused by a number of factors, including the failure of the uterus to contract after delivery, trauma and lacerations in the birth canal, retained placenta, and blood clotting disorders, multiple pregnancies, etc. As Kenya strives to reduce maternal mortality by the year 2030, as outlined in the Sustainable Development Goals, stakeholders in the health sector are turning to innovations as stopgap measures in the management of PPH, the leading cause of maternal deaths in the country. Interventions as simple as this kit can sometimes be the difference between life and death. Mary Mwoki, KTN News.